And we are alive. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Crypto Cave podcast. I'm joined today by my colleagues Rufus and Phil. And,
Well,
you know, this is our podcast where we basically discuss the happenings in crypto. And boy, do we have some interesting things to talk about today. Let's have a look at the markets first, though, because the markets have been doing some ups and downs as well. All right. I
Downs? Where are the downs?
well, I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
no
mean,
downs yet.
no real downs yet last week. Go ahead, Phil. You send me this
Uh,
chart you wanted to talk about. It's an ETH chart.
Yeah. So I have just a couple of levels on here. We had some lows, a month ago. Now with a lot of volume, and we've started to enter this range where we've had some chop and resistance before. So I think it might be time to have that again. At least we'll probably stall out here for just a little bit. Even if I wanted to be really bullish, I would still want to go see one of these previous lows retested, like the lower line there, somewhere in that area. I probably won't expect to make it over that upper line in the short term without having some sort of retracement and consolidation of some kind.
Okay, yeah, for me, I basically think if we break the 2K, we're obviously gonna bounce up a little to 2200. That's my opinion. But I mean, breaking 2K is always, there's not a lot of resistance lines there, but I always think the psychological barriers around that as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much all the time.
yeah.
I mean, I actually think that we might break up. There's a good chance we'll break up, I think, and like spike up even possibly a bit. I wouldn't be shocked to see even like getting near 2,500, but I also wouldn't be shocked if we don't, if we kind of just fall back down. Um, Either way, I mean, I'm still long-term bearish. I think that we're in for kind of a bit of unpredictability and choppiness up and down, ups and downs, over the next, yeah, little bit.
Yeah, I think in the end we're gonna get some ups and downs, and I do think we're still in the dead cat bounce area of
Yeah,
charts.
yeah.
Um, I think we talked about this before, but we haven't really seen any major depression, and usually that's everybody said that. You know, there's people that are saying that the bear market is over, but that's you haven't seen
Oh,
people
I
cry
haven't
yet,
heard them yet.
Yeah.
When I start hearing people say the bear market's over, that's when I start going short.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Uh,
Yeah, that's my update.
yeah.
We,
So there's
we don't need to do these super long updates, I think. Yeah, we've got consensus around that.
Yeah. So I mean, the main story of this week, I think, is the Tornado Cash developer that got arrested by the Dutch police, actually, which is an interesting story on itself. So what happened is the U.S. basically said that they want to have this guy, and now Dutch police made an arrest on behalf of the United States, governmental system, and yeah, it doesn't really. I'm not sure what this is gonna do. I mean, it's just some code, right? Can you really arrest people for writing some code?
I mean, what
Yeah.
are the charges?
Um, I think the charges were in here somewhere. I think it was uh, you know making the ability to launder money was the verdict.
To I mean, assisting or aiding and abetting or whatever, money laundering. Yeah, I mean, I think you can probably arrest someone for writing code then if you frame it like that. Um,
It's kind of has some maybe unintended implications though, right? Because if you arrest somebody for writing some open source code that provides some level of privacy on a blockchain, where is that line? And I'm sure they would probably say something like, well, if you can use it to launder money, then it's a problem. Like, well, okay, but regular physical cash can be used for that, and it's not a problem. And then we've got all these like emerging technologies like zero knowledge proofs that actually stand to make blockchains really, really scalable. And some of these technologies just have inherent privacy features as a result of not writing down all the data. We don't keep all the data on chain. We don't guarantee the availability, which there's a degree of privacy to that. Unless there's somebody dedicates a machine to just watching everything all the time, which there's probably a few of those out there. But yeah, is that crossing the line now just because somebody can use it for this?
Yeah, the
well,
question is as well, what's it going to do for all the other protocols that are out there? Ring signatures and ZK rollup, ZK snarks, and stuff like that. Zero knowledge is
Yeah.
zero knowledge doomed because of this?
I mean, we have to really see how this plays out in the court. Obviously, that's going to be the key here. Uh, you know, uh, if they if the precedent is that as you guys are kind of insinuating that it's or perhaps I was insinuating earlier as well, that it's just aiding and abetting by writing some open source code that can be used. I wouldn't see that actually sticking as a charge. If they can't show any intent for it to be used, U.S. legal system is very focused on intent.
Yeah, it's basically like BitTorrent, right? I mean, BitTorrent can be used to pirate copyrighted software, but it can also be used for legitimate goals. Like BitTorrent did a lot for streaming services, for example.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I mean this is why in America they never went after BitTorrent developers; they went after seeders.
yeah, they went after
You
the
know
users that were misusing the
exactly.
torrent system to spread piracy, basically. Yeah. So
And the subsequent blacklisting of addresses by USDC and exchanges and other services, that's just what we would expect, right? Like that wasn't even a surprise. That's kind of always been the thing about these centralized services is hey, this can happen, just so you know. um, but
Somebody gave a really shitty speech last year at one of those crypto conferences about how these blacklisted addresses are going to become a huge thing when proof of work starts moving into the U.S. and I just saw that some pools are already not mining transactions from certain addresses in order to help and these aren't even U.S. based pools. They're pools that are trying to advertise to U.S. based miners to say that they are, if you mine on our pool, you're not at risk of mining a transaction that is
That is sanctioned. Yeah.
sanctioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing a speech about that sometime last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It was an interesting speech. The guy should have worked a bit on his ums and stuff like that, but the speech was very interesting.
I mean, if he hadn't been as hungover as he was, I'm sure he would have done a lot better.
Yeah, yeah. Another topic I wanted to talk about was it wasn't actually something that had a lot to do with crypto, but it had a little bit to do with crypto. So apparently in Lebanon, a guy took a lot of people in a bank hostage with a gun, and in the end, the people came to support him. So what happened was in Lebanon, the banks basically have their anti-bank run their anti-bank run policies in place, which currently makes sure that people don't take out too much money. But what happened was this guy's father, I think, his father was in the hospital and needed money for an operation, and the bank basically just didn't give him the money. And in the end, what he did was, so in the end, he took hostages and, threatened to lit himself on fire. And if they didn't give him his money, and now people are saying that he's a hero, because he wanted to basically save his dad and stuff like that. I think this is the reason why we need crypto. A bank's not always going to give you your money, and
Bitcoin fixes this, as they say.
Bitcoin fixes this. Yeah, you have your own keys and you have your own wallet, and obviously, I'd be a bit scared with walking around with a briefcase with $5,000 in it, but having a wallet with $5,000 worth of crypto on it doesn't really faze me for some reason. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know. $5,000. If you've got that in your wallet, that's right on the border of where I would start to worry. I'll say.
Yeah.
I mean, at least your phone doesn't look fat compared to like all of the other phones, right? Like, hey, that guy's walking around with a bunch of crypto on his phone, and then even if it was stolen or something did happen, and maybe you had set it up intelligently in advance, maybe you can run home and recover it and sweep the wallet before anything happens, and try doing that with a briefcase full of cash. So
I think what's interesting as well, for example, what they do in Saudi Arabia and Dubai is where they do a lot of transaction with briefcases with money in it, which I think is like super odd, right? That's not really something that you see a lot in the Western world, like people walking around with briefcases with money in it.
I mean, you see
that. They'd ask you what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, hey, why is this guy carrying a briefcase with his arm, handcuffed to the briefcase? It's like, what's going on here?
That's got to be a lot more than $5,000 in there.
Yeah. Obviously, that's more than $5,000. But I mean, if you carry $500,000, yeah. I mean, we've done some large transactions in the past, and if you carry around a briefcase with $500,000 in it, people are gonna, I don't think I wouldn't want to be walking around in New York with a briefcase with my arm attached on it with a,
the nice thing with a wallet, like a cell phone wallet, is actually, I like it a lot, because what you can do is you got the cell phone wallet, and like, let's say worst case scenario, you got the thieves coming at you and they know you've got it, and you know you've got like 100,000 or whatever, a few $100,000 on there, you just smash that phone. Oh, sorry, it's
Oops.
gone.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? Yeah, you know,
Dropped it in the sewer. Oh,
yeah,
darn.
exactly. You know, I would want to smash it, not just get it wet. The old bag of rice will work real well on that. But I don't know about y'all. Samsung. My wife just recently had her phone stolen. We got a Samsung family, and took me like, I don't know, 2 minutes to remote erase everything on it. And you know, at first we were able to track the thieves down, and I was like trying to, you know, hunt them down for a little while. And but then they got on a subway and were off, and I was like, ah, screw it. And so yeah, just did a remote wipe, and yeah.
Talking
It-
about
And
remote wipes, I remember the time that when I worked in customer service, one of my colleagues accidentally wiped one of the users' iPads. That was that didn't go very well for him.
yeah. I mean, you know, I wouldn't necessarily want other people to have control over those remote wipes, but
I mean,
yeah.
but people should realize though that when they have a phone that's paid for by their job, by their work,
Well, yeah, then
their work, you know, their employer can actually
obviously.
remotely wipe the phone. So if you have any coins on that, I'd advise you to take them off and put them on,
As an
you know,
employer, I'd
yeah,
say that
yeah,
that's their prerogative. That's, you know, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, they should
Have
have.
you
mobile
guys ever?
security is actually pretty good too. Mobile operating system security. I think the consensus is it's generally more secure than desktop.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
don't short the phone security.
Did you guys ever see this? They have there's this company called Dangerous Things, and they have all types of implants that you can implant into your body, and a lot of them can hold data as well. So you can basically, you know, put your encrypted keys into your body, and you know, carry it with you everywhere. People don't
It's
know it's
comfortable.
there, and I actually have two friends of mine have
What's
this.
it called?
The company's called Dangerous Things. If you go to dangerousthings.com, you can order the kit to do it yourself. I have a friend
Do it
who's
yourself.
yeah, yeah. There's instruction videos on it as well, and there's a whole bunch of disclaimers with it, so don't worry.
Sure.
But yeah, it's the biohacking way. Uh, so one of my friends is a piercer, like professional, and she has two of these in her hands, and one of those she can start her motorcycle with and stuff like that, and the other she can open her door at her place. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You know, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah, I love this kind of stuff. On the other hand, I worry about like when they first came out with the near field chips in passports and stuff, and
mhm.
the tap to pay. People were like, "Well, you can just walk around with this device that's just listening all the time, or you know, making requests of those chips, and
Mhm.
the chips aren't smart enough to really tell what is what's being asked of them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they just reply, and so I mean, if I went to like a Bitcoin Miami with one of those devices and picked up everybody's keys out of their hands.
Mhm. But the thing is, you can encrypt the data on the chip itself. You know.
If it'll fit, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how big those are.
Let me see. They have 8 kilobyte ones. 8 kilobyte. Let's see. I think 8 kilobytes a lot, right? For
I'll
some
still wait for the
data.
ones that can have a little bit of power somehow, also under the skin. Maybe I can just recharge it with one of those wireless chargers and just rest my hand on it or something like that for a while, and like it could actually do a challenge response like a hardware wallet without revealing the private key. Then I'd be there tomorrow.
Oh yeah, yeah. You should you should check them out. They also have temperature sensing chips and stuff. So you could like hold your phone to your arm, and then your phone tells you how warm you are, your temperature is.
Wow.
They have all sorts of stuff. They also have light up chips, so you can like point an
love those.
NFC reader at your arm, and your arm just lights up. Pretty
Nice.
interesting. Yeah.
I mean, there should be some way for it to get power just from like motion and heat of the body. Generate a little bit of electricity off of that, and
That should be. I mean, I think it's a tough thing to do, but I mean, I think in the future we're gonna find something that's able to do that. Yeah. So, oh, another interesting thing that I saw, by the way. So there's this Reddit post about there. So there was someone who started to send transactions to every
wait,
doxed
are we
wallet.
switching subjects? Hold on.
You want to go
Before we
back?
switch-
You want to go back?
Yeah, before we switch subjects on the bio implants,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason I wouldn't want to do that with anything crypto related is because, you know, as I was saying earlier, the thieves come with the cell phone. You just break the cell phone. Well, if it's in your body, what
There's probably some uninstallation instructions provided as well.
You would have to be able to wipe it awfully fast.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, the thing is, if you have an implant, you don't tell people, right? Or are you gonna boast about it?
Apparently, your friend's breaking the first rule of.
Well, the funny thing is they're not in crypto, or at least not that I know of. So maybe, yeah. I think Rufus left us, by the way.
Oh yeah.
It looks like
Frozen there.
he's a little bit frozen. But
Well, maybe we should move on to the next topic while
Yeah.
he's unable to protest it.
I'm unable
Oh,
to
there he is.
protest.
oh yeah, there he is. He's back. He's back. He probably heard everything we said about him.
No, I didn't. I
yeah.
didn't hear.
Okay, so don't tell about those things that I just said, Phil. So
Right.
yeah,
My internet's being shitty.
yeah, you should get a new router. Yeah. So what was interesting is so there's basically this person that's sending every like public doxed wallet out there some Tornado Cash transactions. So
Yeah, I think I saw like Brian Armstrong is on this list, right?
yeah, Donald Trump,
basically
Jimmy
every-
Fallon, Shaq, Brian Armstrong, Randy Zuckerberg, BitBoy. So basically,
Love it.
the American government decided that they don't like Tornado Cash, and someone thought, all right, let's just send everyone some Tornado Cash then.
Love it.
You know, so
Yeah,
basically,
I mean,
all of these people are now getting, questions raised when they want to send money to Coinbase or any other American exchange. They're going to be like, hey, this money came from Tornado Cash. What's happened? You're being investigated now. So, yeah.
0.1 ETH too.
Yeah,
That's
point
not
one, point one to everyone. So, yeah. It was someone with a big bag who was like,
Fuck you.
fuck you. Yeah.
they should have made it a little bit more just to put it over like the red flag limit or something like that, where they have to look at it. I'm not sure what that is, but of course there's a need to be able to prevent money laundering and stuff, but I always have to laugh whenever some enforcement action just plainly falls flat on its face because of a lack of understanding of how the thing that they're trying to enforce works. right? Like you can't airdrop people stuff except for on a blockchain. So this, the traditional method of like, oh, let's just ban these people and these people associated with it from the network. Well, that becomes kind of a problem when anybody can randomly add people to the list in that fashion. So I guess they'll have to figure something else out, or some other way to do this.
I mean, the problem is as well, as soon as you ban something, something else is going to pop up. And
Yeah.
this is just, I think this is just old people versus young people, all these old bags in Congress are like, oh, this crypto, this magic internet money needs to be more regulated. How do we do that? And then,
The blockchain is not a dump truck; it's a series of tubes.
yeah, it's not a big truck. Yeah,
I'm just kind of reading up a little bit more on this case, and I mean, it looks like, the guy they're holding him for 14 days. We really don't know anything about what's going on right now. They're holding him for 14 days, right now in custody. We don't know what the charges are. We don't know what the evidence is. We don't know anything. So,
He's
from
gonna
the sounds of it,
is going to need to be extradited first, so it's going to take a long time and
I
stuff.
mean, he's going to have to go through the Dutch legal system on the extradition first.
Yeah.
And that's going to require them to actually, provide that he's committed what the Netherlands considers to be at least a reasonable reason for extradition.
Yeah.
And
I mean, as far as I know, it's only a protocol to achieve ZK snarks type transactions on the ETH chain. So it's not.
No, it's a mixer, I believe.
It's a mixer that
pooling
uses some really neat algorithms to do the mixing, that actually make it really complicated to. But it's not a ZK snarker, no.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, but yeah.
But what is interesting is, at least according to the hints and whatnot, that they're kind of dropping out around it, and the way that the Dutch are acting. I mean, it sounds like what was happening was, and this is just total conjecture on my part at the end of the day here, not based on anything solid, but it sounds like possibly what was happening was that the guy and some of the programmers around Tornado Cash were actually giving advice on how to hide transactions and do money laundering stuff.
That's usually when the line gets crossed.
Yeah, and that's a line crosser right there,
I mean,
totally
everything was fine at BitMEX until somebody very publicly told everyone to circumvent their geofence using a VPN.
Exactly.
Then it became a problem.
Yeah, so it might be a dev that, said too much in a Discord channel or stuff like that, because that's all public as well. If you have a Telegram group where you boast about how to use stuff for bad, the government's not gonna like that, and you're gonna get a big target on your back. Yeah. You can't encourage people to do bad things,
Exactly.
I also read on the Wikipedia, it actually says that the Lazarus group that were like North Korean hackers. I'm obviously I'm not 100% sure how credible that information is, but they said that the North Koreans actually used Tornado Cash as well to mix their stolen coins.
I mean, it's possible. I'm not. I have not followed Tornado Cash very much up until now. So yeah, I guess that's not a huge surprise if that's the case, but no, yeah, I certainly couldn't tell you if that was the case.
So okay, I got let's talk about the big news. And real quickly, can we when we like upload these videos, I know some YouTubers can like put in this section is this and this section is this and whatnot. Can we do that stuff on our videos? Make it easier for people to, maybe somebody
Search
just comes
certain
from work
topics.
up-
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's put our intern on it. So I think it's a
Okay.
good thing for you, Rufus, to do.
Perfect. All right.
So another big news topic, I think that's where you wanted to go, is the merge, right?
Yeah, the merge.
The
Exactly.
merge.
gotta
Here we
talk
go.
about the merge,
We gotta
man.
talk about the merge. We
I
gotta.
guess next week we should probably do a whole episode about the merge.
Yeah.
But sounds like it's finally coming. I heard they set a block.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's going to be on like the 14th or 15th or 16th of
September.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've been talking to Vitalik on Twitter for a bit. He doesn't really respond, but I hope he's able to join us next week.
That would be good. That would be good.
But yeah, so the merge happened. Well, I mean, it didn't happen on mainnet, but it happened on the Goerli testnet. How do you actually pronounce Goerli? Is it called
I figured
Goerli?
you would know.
Goer-
Is that not a
Goerli? Is it a Dutch thing?
It's
I don't know.
all
word,
of
obviously. It's Goerli.
testnets have,
Goerli.
some
Goerli.
sort of
Goerli.
European name, sounding name. I don't know.
I'm just gonna pronounce it American. It's just this Goerli, Goerli testnet.
You
Yeah.
got to do it the real American way. Go early.
Go early.
There it
It's
is.
the Go
Go
early
early.
testnet.
Rufus brought it
Go
home.
early.
It's the testnet without the miners in it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
So it looks
yeah.
like it's
So
finally happening. 2016 at the latest, and here we are.
yeah,
And it'll be
2016
nice to
has
at least
actually
have it done.
come. Yeah.
Yeah, finally. We didn't know it, but we're living in the past.
Aren't we worried about it, Rufus? Aren't we worried about the merge?
Terrified.
Ooh, I
Um,
cry myself to sleep every night, It's just, my girlfriend tells me that sometimes in the middle of the night, I wake up and I go, the merge is happening, And then she's like, there, honey, there. Just, you're having bad dreams about your magic internet money again. Please go back to
starting
sleep.
have the most boring work-related dreams these days. Like last night, I had this dream. Oh God, it was so boring. It was just like what I do every day. It was just more of that, more of dealing with you guys, more of dealing with our business partners, and like just going around and doing the things that I've been doing for the last 3-4 days, weeks. And it was, God, it was so boring.
Dealing with us in your sleep, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, my dreams are putting me to sleep. It's great. Anyways,
That's the American dream, right?
right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
just dream about work always.
Yeah. I mean,
No days
the
off,
issue was I
only
was
work.
working till like 1 a.m. last night, so then I go to sleep and I'm just working in my sleep and anyway.
That's
More in your sleep.
that's like that guy who played GTA 5 and they have that mission where you have to go to the docks to hoist containers around from ships and stuff like that. And there was this guy who was playing it who was actually, that was his real job, and he was like, I gotta do my job in this game, man.
Yeah. God,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, the merge is it looks like it's finally coming. I find it interesting that GPU prices are kind of going up all of a sudden, right before the merge a little bit, but then they're going down again, like just in the last 2 days.
It's been
You
jumping up
know,
and down for the last. It's been ping ponging a bit for the
exactly.
last month, I think. But I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
anyway,
there's a lot of factors to keep in mind. So obviously, with China currently playing some games in the waters near China One and the other China, they're it's not good for chip manufacturing. So if there's any tensions there that something's going to happen, no offense to any Taiwanese people listening, by the way, uh, you know, it can cause a lot of shortage on the market,
There's also
chip wise.
the altcoin market's been shifting around as well, and then there's been a few points, just looking at what to mine over this past week or two, where Ethereum hasn't even been the most profitable coin already to mine. So regardless of merge or difficulty bomb, so I guess the waters are already starting to get a little choppy.
Yeah,
And
we've seen days where
wholesale's ahead.
ETH Classic was more profitable. That's weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen that.
And then I think I saw Ravencoin on top one of the times too.
Very
I
interesting.
think
Yeah.
we were telling
um,
Rufus that Ethereum Classic was on top, and then he checked in that moment, and it was Ravencoin or something. So yeah,
Interesting. I love the fact
oh,
that I read an article yesterday on my LinkedIn, and there was this guy who was just blasting away on the fact that, this is going to be the end of GPU mining. And he just boasted on and on and on. And I just couldn't be asked to call him out on it. But,
he sure
maybe I
somebody's
should.
wrong on the internet. You got to
Yeah,
deal with
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, if someone's wrong on the internet, you gotta like hunt them down, right? Yeah, to give them your thoughts on that. But
yeah,
I mean, I'd like to
yeah,
have.
You back, Rufus?
I'm back. I'm back.
All right.
Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Ravencoin and Furo are currently on top as far as profitability goes. Um, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a battle, that's for sure. I'm not
Right.
sure who's gonna win, but I mean, I guess we do need to actually prepare a little bit more for the merge. It does look like it is actually going to come now. As we've said many times before, it doesn't just because the merge comes doesn't end GPU mining on Ethereum. But we got to be prepared.
I just wanted
It
to
does
bring
put a
that up
date on it.
actually. The because they had just pushed back not that long ago the difficulty bomb, right? The ice age has been adjusted outwards, which is the actual mechanism, right? Like the merge is just turning on proof of stake, it's not turning off proof of work. Proof of work is already being turned off in a like sort of gradual fashion via the ice age mechanism, which was always its intention, if I'm not mistaken. um, Oh, did we lose Rufus again? Am I right on that, Jacob? I think
Yeah,
I'm right on that.
yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't just switch over. It doesn't just.
Yeah. So I guess it's not even that difficult to mine Ethereum yet, and these other coins are already sort of jockeying for the top. Um, do you know? Did they reset the Ice Age fully last month, or was that just like a partial one? I wasn't didn't read up on it when it happened. I just noted it.
Ooh, I to be honest, they did a lot of things with the Ice Age, and I didn't really look into it.
It looked like the block times had dropped all the way back down to 12 seconds, like shortly after. So I guess it was started, and I think it takes about 3 months total,
mhm.
3 or 4 months, because we've ran up on this before. I think we even pulled up some charts on an earlier show where we actually looked at the difficulty when the previous ice age had started to take effect, and the block time had gone up 14 seconds plus. Yeah, I'm not sure where we're at right now. Oh, looks like
Oh,
I'm chopped up.
yeah.
We lost Rufus.
We've lost Rufus. I hope he joins soon. Let's switch over the views so it's not that obvious. All right. So yeah, I also I mean, let's just go to the next little bit of crypto news as well. So for the ETH fork that's coming along, basically what happened is the ETH fork is coming around, but Chainlink basically decided that they don't want to get involved in the new ETH fork. And that basically breaks half of DeFi on their new chain. So
I think USDC has said so too, if not Tether.
Hey, look at that.
Oh, welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
What I miss?
Full FPS. We just moved on to the story about Chainlink confirming that they're supporting the proof of stake fork and not the proof of fork that's been recently announced by Chandler Guo, I think was his name. And then also Justin Sun wants to get behind it as well. Poloniex says they're supporting it. If you need some place to dump your ETH POW, I think it's called, and I'm sure that was the intention when they decided to do that.
Is Chainlink so centralized? I always thought Chainlink was a bit more open source, and you could just copy it over. But it sounds like it's totally it's closed source if they can do this.
Well, so what it is Chainlink only has like the price oracles and stuff like that. But the biggest problem is if you fork everything over from ETH to ETH POW, all of your code is going to point to the ETH prices and not to the ETH POW prices. So your DeFi is going to be all screwed up because the ETH POW prices are going to be different than your ETH prices. So everything's going to be out of order and nothing's going to work correctly, and everything's going to be either over or undervalued on every DeFi project.
It sounds like a super easy fix, though, if you just rename everything in the code, that is ETH to
ETH POW.
It would be if Chainlink was supporting ETH POW for you to be able to do that.
But the problem is as well, so the question is then, do you go back and change the whole blockchain and change ETH POW into every smart contract? Change it to ETH POW so that everything just works. But you basically alter the blockchain.
It still thinks that it's, ETH from its own perspective, right? It doesn't know that it's ETH POW. So if you deliver it a price feed for ETH, but the price feed you're delivering is actually ETH POWs, then everything would work. But there's not going to be a price feed for ETH POW. So
I mean, there's not going to be a
relies
price
on
feed for ETH POW because Chainlink is closed source and is only delivering and things are trying to look at Chainlink's Is that am I correct in that?
I mean, it's probably not closed source, but they are hosting it. So then they decide if they
But
want to add it or not.
anyone could just copy it over and
Yeah,
yeah, change to ETH PAL.
ETHPAL link. Yeah.
Yeah, ETH PAL link. There you go. I mean, hell,
I mean, obviously
we do
that
that?
works, but everybody has. Yeah, we could do that, but everybody has to adjust their. Everybody has to adjust their code.
Yeah, all you have to do
Sure,
then to adjust your code is replace all ETH to ETH PAL.
But do we want to go on some, super ETH coin chain or a ETH gold or whatever, ETH cash?
Yeah.
Do we?
I'm generally against those sorts of just cash grab, like, oh, it's fork time, everybody make a fork.
Yeah, it's
Even
just
though this
I'm
is
a huge proponent of them. I love
forking
the
in general, yes,
competition.
over a contentious issue or something like that, which I guess this is potentially. It's just not looking like that quite as much. It's kind of looking a little bit more like the Bitcoin gold forks or something like that.
Yeah, it
But we
looks like
already
the
have an
super
Ethereum.
Bitcoin or the Bitcoin for gold. I mean, we already have.
Fucking.
We already have. Oh well,
I think he
there.
thought he was offline.
All right.
Usually cursing brings back the connection, so it's
Yeah.
no blame for that.
I just slap everything, when I go offline.
I had
Anyway,
a coworker once that used to carry around a hammer anytime he went to diagnose a printer, just to intimidate it.
oh yeah,
I think I told you
yeah,
that story.
yeah. I mean, that's a very good story.
Welcome back, Rufus.
Oh, he is back.
For now.
Oh well, he could just say one word. I think the internet's censoring our guy.
It's the only explanation. Too hot for YouTube. Do we have another one after Chainlink?
We have one. I think let's see.
One more point on that. It is kind of a good reminder to just note how much influence and power and control the economic powerhouses of our ecosystems have.
Yes. Yes.
The exchanges, right? The big centralized players that have a lot of capital. And then they do want to do what their customers want ultimately. But I mean, it is kind of more, I guess, like a republic in that sense rather than any like direct democracy or something like that.
Sure. I've just joined with my phone here. So you're going to lose my video.
All right.
But
no, it's okay. I'm Rufus now.
There you go.
You're both Phil now.
But yeah, I mean, where I was headed with that is that, like, the first of all, with the I actually support Bitcoin gold, but I don't see any reason that, like, the whole principle of of crypto is that it's open source and anybody can fork for any reason at any time, and let the longest chain win. And I mean, I definitely think this is more than a reason to fork. This is a very legitimate reason for a fork. And
I just think we have a perfectly fine solution already. We don't need this fork. We have Bitcoin. We have ETH Classic, and
Yeah, like even for whichever side you were on during the block size war, right? Like that's a contentious fork. Some people believe big blocks, some people believe small. And then, of course, both sides should have their fork, and that is the crypto way. but then a bunch of other things spurned on after that that were arguably less legitimate. They were also forks taking advantage of a contentious situation. But there are maybe like qualitative nuances to these things that are kind of hard to describe, but have the sort of look, feel, and smell about them. Right? These two things look kind of similar. That's just kind of what I take on it.
I mean, we obviously have different views on the block size war, but I guess coming back to the core issue at hand here, the issue with I'll join with my computer again after I finish this. The issue with Ethereum Classic is that so much of what has been developed is not on there. Everything is already on Ethereum, so it'd be. I mean, there's two issues with Ethereum Classic. Number one is the hacker on Ethereum Classic still holds a shit ton of ETC.
That is a problem.
And that is a systemic issue. I actually don't believe that that's a problem, but I think it's a legitimate reason for people not to want to go to ETC.
It's a problem for price. Anytime you've got a large holder like that, yeah.
And then another issue is that all of this infrastructure and stuff that's been built was not built on ETC. And so I don't see any issue. I think that, the reason that it's so easy to fork and create a new protocol and that it should be so easy is so that because it's a little bit more convenient to just fork it again, that we should be encouraging the most convenient fork.
Well, I actually don't think it's quite as convenient, because I think you're imagining that all of these smart contracts and DeFi ecosystem things just copy over in their current one-to-one state and don't have which they do, but they're all reliant on each other in a very complicated, like literally almost too complicated to try and get a complete picture of at this point. Although I'm sure some advanced software could probably map out the risks, the systemic risks of DeFi and where everything is. That sounds like fun that I mention it. But we've got this token that's built off of these collection of centralized like stable coins, and then an algorithmic one, and then those tokens are used in something else that relies on a Chainlink Oracle price data feed to determine whether or not it should be liquidated, and then that position is part of some other token's treasury. And you want to move everything with that is getting forked like this. All projects would basically have to work in unison with the fork.
Everything has to be reevaluated. Yes.
Yeah. Like it would actually be easier and more convenient to move it over one at a time onto Ethereum Classic and sort of rebuild it, which is how it gets done already when we move to, anytime we hit up a new ecosystem, Matic, AVAX, Harmony last year, and all the projects would move on there, and that would sort of legitimize them in a way. But it kind of has to happen one leg at a time like that in order to make sure everything's done safely and doesn't just blow up. I mean, there's going to be some wild things that happen in DeFi on that fork. I
There's going to be
nowhere to hold my hands out.
There's going to be a lot of overhead. There's going to be a lot of headaches. The thing is there's
random liquidations of tokens that don't actually matter.
There's going to be a lot of a smart computer coder could basically figure out all of the contracts that have something to do with external inputs and stuff like that, and looking at whatever, and it's basically just a time bomb. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work because they're two different coins. And all of the smart contracts are just made for ETH and not for ETH POW. And it's just gonna fall over and it's gonna crash and it's gonna burn and they're just gonna liquidate their coins on Polo, what do you call that? Polonix? Poloniacs. Yeah. It's just going to crash and burn and they're going to dump their coins. And what I think is interesting as well is currently you can already sell your ETH POW on Poloniacs. So how does that work? When did that fork happen? Because
when's the snapshot?
If the snapshot did the snapshot happen? I can't find anything in the docs on their website. Already? I can't find anything in the docs. So that just means if they are forked already, that just means that they're privately mining currently. They're mining all the coins and just dumping it on the exchange, right? That must be it.
There you go. Yeah.
It is.
So
I mean, they might not be dumping it on the exchange, but they're certainly mining the coins and building up a war chest.
I mean, yeah. If there's no snapshot, you cannot already start selling.
I mean, there must have already been a snapshot, and we don't know it.
I mean,
they're mining now. They had to report.
Did you see their website? There's not even documents available. So it's
I'm not surprised by this. I mean, it sounds like a cash grab.
It's a 100% cash grab. I wouldn't get near it. The only thing I do is just sell my coins there as soon as possible.
But Bitcoin Gold was a cash grab that also had an interesting and I think legitimate use case underneath it. You know, it was a cash grab that then was, I guess I wouldn't say it was a legitimate project wrapped in a, yeah, that's what it is. It's a legitimate project that was wrapped in a cash grab. Rather than, you know, most scams in crypto are cash grabs wrapped in legitimacy. This was a legitimate project wrapped in a cash grab. You know, Bitcoin Gold being that it was a fork of Bitcoin that was ASIC resistant. The only thing it did was add ASIC resistance to Bitcoin, which I think is a very good thing. But it did it in such a way that was totally a cash grab in the beginning. But then the thing is that these days, Bitcoin Gold's getting more and more legitimate because the cash grab was in the beginning. It was, you know, the way that they executed it was just done in such a way to maximize the return for the people doing it. It was done this exact same way. They didn't announce things. They were doing pre-mines and they had already forked it and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And that negatively impacted it at the get-go. But years later, people forget about that. And they look at it and they say, hey, why isn't this a thing? This seems legit.
It's not dead yet.
So
I mean, that's what happened to Dogecoin, right? I mean, Dogecoin was started as a literal joke, just for fun, just for people to play around with meaningless crypto that had no value. So if you lost your wallet or sent it to a bad address, it's like no big deal. Here's another 100. You know, it was just supposed to be for fun, but it was supported on every exchange, and it was still supported on just about every exchange to this day.
Yeah,
and has really low transaction fees.
I remember buying Dogecoin on Cryptsy.
Yeah.
I mean, when did they get hacked? Like 2013 or something?
Oh man,
2014
14 or 15.
Big Vern was the guy,
15,
man.
Yeah,
the guy who ran away with all our money. I mean, not all our money. Half of it was hacked, but he ran away with the rest of it, you know? I think it's weird. Why doesn't anybody talk about that, though? It was just too long ago, or? Shout out to DJ Mines, by the way, in the chat.
Not as famous as not as famous as Magical Tux and Mount Gox. So
Magical Tux, Mount Gox, and what's the Canadian one? Quadriquez or what?
Quadringa.
Yeah. That guy just faked his death, right? He just ran away.
Yeah.
That was great.
Talking about scams, though.
Back.
Talking about scams. Let's do the last article. You sent this in, Rufus. It's about the CEO that was accused of being a scammer.
I love this. I absolutely love this. So, yeah, I mean, this guy, it's the Bloomberg article, right?
Yeah, it's the Bloomberg article, but I grabbed another one because I don't have a Bloomberg, but it's the same story. I don't have a Bloomberg,
Yeah.
account.
Anyways, I mean, this is the world we're entering. This guy, he helped a bunch of investors. He did a bunch of, he made a bunch of people money on essentially a Ponzi scheme. It was a Ponzi scheme, but he didn't run away with their money. He actually invested it in a pretty decent way and made returns on it, and paid people out. The thing is that he was lying about every part of it, and was running a Ponzi scheme. But because he made people money, like all of his customers are now, and then he got arrested. I don't know how he got arrested or whatnot. Does your article say anything about that?
I can't really find anything on that, but yeah. So yeah,
I'm not sure even why they. I guess somebody decided to press charges on him, and all it takes is one person. But yeah, I mean,
he promised
all the people that he quote unquote scammed are protesting outside of his court hearings, saying that he's a hero and made them all this money, and should be,
I mean, he promised everybody 5% weekly returns. So yeah. I mean,
he didn't deliver. I don't think he delivered that, but he delivered really good returns. And as I say, yeah, the people are upset that he's gone now. That's great. Yeah.
The people still believe in him. Yeah. Even though he was he was a huge scammer out there. Yeah. I mean, it's so weird to see. So that's the interesting thing as well, right? So we try to run a legitimate company, but sometimes I see all the scammers around me and I'm like, wow, it's like these guys are having it easy, They just promise 10% returns a day, It's like, how? It's like it has to be a scam, but and then we try to.
All you have to do is post enough rocket emojis, and people will give you money, apparently. But
yeah, but that's also the reason why no one wants to work anymore, right? You could just be a monkey picture promoter on LinkedIn and make more money than being in a McDonald's these days. So. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. I think it's time to wrap it up. If you guys, liked our little podcast, please subscribe, and tell your friends about it, because we don't have a lot of viewers, but in the future, I hope we're gonna be big. Like and subscribe. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you guys later.
Thanks, everybody.
Next week we'll do our merge episode, so let's try to make that a little big.
Yeah, join us next week for the merge episode. And DJ Mines, since you're in the chat, if you'd like to join us, I'd love to have you on. Thank you.
Yeah. Sounds good. Take care. Talk to y'all.